Okay, I'm on page 41 of Reign of Cinders and Glass, and so far it's been good. We just got plopped down right into the plot, into like an adrenaline-filled moment, which I think is probably the best way to start a book. Just with some like, I don't know, anxiety about what's about to happen. So far so good. I think reading 100 pages a day as a slow reader will be a challenge. It will be a challenge. I think I can casually read like 50 pages in a day, but 100 pages, there's nothing casual about that. That is intentional. So it definitely will be a challenge for me. Luckily today is Saturday, which means it's a little bit easier to hit 100 pages on the weekend. But come weekday, come like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when I'm going into the office, we'll see. And you know, sometimes I win these challenges and sometimes I don't. So TBD, I really don't know. I did do a challenge where I was trying to read 50 pages a day for a week, and I think I succeeded. I might have missed one day. I honestly can't remember. Alas, back to reading. Oh, also I should say that I think this is a Cinderella retelling, and the first scene that I was talking about was basically what's her name? Ella. Ella's sister Belle has been missing for 5 days, which is abnormal. Normally if she goes missing, it's like 1 or 2 days, but now it's day 5 and she's still not come back. So Ella goes into the woods, which are semi-forsaken woods, looking for her sister, and along the way, she runs into a vampire, or they call them bloodsuckers, which I don't think I've ever read a book about vampires. I can't remember if I read Twilight when I was younger or not. And also I was thinking like, who came up with the idea of vampires? Like, vampires aren't real, so, and how has this idea persisted for so long? So she runs into someone who is just gonna absolutely slaughter her. Okay, apparently recently there have been some slaughterings, and then she gets saved by another vampire who she presumes is in the regal throne kingdom realm. Like, he's in the, what do you call it, monarchy? He's in the kingdom. He's heir to the throne. We'll say that. Also, another thing in this book, there is a map. And I just think all these fantasy books, we need to have some sort of ancestry or family tree or relationship diagram and a map. And we have a map, which just makes it so fun and so much more fun to visualize everything that's going on. So yeah, it's been good.
Oh, no. Didn't even care enough to be dismissive.
Well, 62% of the way through, and I have some thoughts. First, it's mainly one POV. However, we do get the prince's POV every, like, I don't know. It's like we've had like 2 or 3 chapters so far, and it's been fun. It's just been so fun reading a retelling because I truly did not know what to expect. What would be the same as the original Cinderella story? What would be different? Her name being Ella, that didn't click to me until the prince gave her a pet name, which was Cinderella. So little stuff like that, or like the stepsisters in the original Cinderella movie were like, they lived in the same household as her and she's kind of like their servant basically. But in this book, Ella has a sister who's gone missing, like I mentioned, and Ella ends up getting a job in the castle. And in the castle, she works for 2 sisters who are just evil. And so that aspect, just like comparing this book to the original story, has been interesting, and like what has changed, what's different. There is a ball still, but the ball, I don't know, I guess in Cinderella they knew about the ball. I don't know when they knew about the ball, but here it's like we've known about the ball since the beginning-ish, basically. And also Cinderella, or Ella, is working in the castle. So it's not like she went to the castle for the ball, she went to the castle to work, and then there's a ball at the castle. So right now I think the ball is like 3 days out, and at the ball the prince has to choose who he wants to become queen, who he wants to marry. And so far, yeah, I feel like, okay, I'm like 62% of the way through, so I don't feel like I can give away too much. Predictions wise, I can see where it's going. I feel like, I don't know, 40% is enough to wrap it up. There were a couple times where I was like, oh, is this like a duology or a trilogy? I think it can be wrapped up, but yeah, I have a prediction of where it might go. I feel like that's the road that I'm being led down. But it's been fun learning, and then it's like also fantasy, so then it's just like there's just different fantasy elements. Also, she can talk to animals similar to the original. I think in the original she could talk to animals, right? And so here she can talk to animals. So that's been fun as well, and like hearing animals' thoughts has been good. Yeah, I don't know if I've laughed out loud at anything. Definitely, like, I think I've chuckled, but I'm enjoying it. It's been a good read so far. And the 100 pages, I'm glad I started. Normally I would start a video like this on like a Monday, but I'm glad I started on Saturday, because then I had 2 days to kind of get used to reading 100 pages. And then today is a work from home day. So it's currently my lunchtime. So I'm reading during lunch, and then I'll read in the evening, but I just not having to commute makes it easier. Anyways, it'll be interesting. Tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, day 4, 5, and 6 will be the challenge for sure. But so far, 3 for 3.
Where would I be? There's no one else I wanna see than you next to me. Where?
Take a guess on whether I have read 100 pages a day for the last 5 days. Well, you're probably wrong, because I have, which is just so crazy to me. It is so crazy to me. But I did finish Reign of Cinders and Glass, and it was fun. It's, like I said, my first retelling. It makes me excited to read other retellings, whether it's Cinderella or something else. And in the end of this book, or maybe it was the author's note, it talked about there's going to be like a sequel where it's Belle, who is Ella's sister. And Belle, it just clicked for me like a little bit ago that it might be Belle from Beauty and the Beast, because this book has monsters in it, and then if her sister's name is Belle, then like, and Belle like has to go through the woods, right, to get to the Beast castle, maybe, and there are woods in here, so I'm thinking I don't know, it'll be interesting if I predict that, but I don't know if that's really that big of a prediction. But anyways, Reign of Cinders and Glass was fun. There are a couple things. One reason it was fun was because the prince falls in love with Ella, or Cinderella as he nicknames her. Not because she's so hot and attractive, because of her character. Like, there definitely was an attraction in the beginning, but in the end it's like, yo, her character is and like who she is, she just cares for people so well, and that's what attracted him to her, and he's like, oh, she makes me better. I love that. Like in Burnout, it was just very like physical attraction, lust, which is fine, but I prefer if there's a bit more depth, and I feel like we get a bit of that in here. And so it's just fun reading for people who are actually attracted to each other as their characters, and not just their bodies, which will change over time, you know? So, and then also it's my first time reading about vampires or bloodsuckers, which at first I would have said I wouldn't read a book with vampires or witches, but now I'm a little bit more open to it, so yay. I can't remember, I mentioned in the last clip or whatever that I had a prediction on how it was going to end. And I think my prediction was correct, but the book didn't end where I thought it would end. And I didn't even make a prediction about like the whole spell on the whole, which I don't think that's a spoiler. I don't know. There's a spell in the book, and I didn't make a prediction on that spell. But yeah, it ended up being really great. It was fun. It was just a fun, there's like plot stuff happening, relationship stuff happening. It was a nice nod to the original, but then also different enough to like enjoy a new story. But I want to read a couple of my favorite quotes. And just think, you can tell me all about the bloodsuckers while we walk. I've never been close to one. What were they like? Terrible, violent, cold, and utterly enthralling. I just love the contrast, because it's like there's moments where like you're just so scared but also excited, and then that mix of those emotions, like the bloodsuckers are scary but also like, oh my god. Okay, and not like an attractive way, but just like enthralling, like whoa, like wondrous almost. Oh my gosh, 2 deer just ran through the yard. Everything I thought I knew about my stepmother and my sister came crashing down in 1,000 glistening shards, like the world was made of glass and had been hit by a sledgehammer. Finally running towards something for the first time in my life. Which I think is just something, it's not necessarily like so crazy, but there's that feeling of maybe you're like early 20s, mid 20s, or even like in your teens, or even like 70, and you're just kind of like, what am I doing? What is the purpose? And then that feeling of like having a purpose and a direction is pretty exciting. It was like I was caught up in a fairy tale. You are. I love that. On my way out, I paused by a strange fixture in the corner of the room. It was like a large marble tiled closet with a spout in the ceiling. I'd never seen anything like it and couldn't imagine the point. I immediately knew what it was, but it was later confirmed like way at the end of the book. A fist tightened around my heart. I've been told that I have a way of provoking people. The ghost of a smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Provoking would be an understatement. You're like a tiny cinder that sets the forest ablaze. She made me want to be better. She made me feel like I could be better. Just that, like, that type of relationship is so great. Where it's like not driven by lust, and it's driven by like just two people spurring each other on. Oh, and then there's one last scene that made me chuckle at the end. So I did actually laugh. I laughed out loud at one scene on page 464, at least on my Kindle. I don't know if when you change the font size on a Kindle it changes. I don't think so. So 464, where there's a thing of gold. That's all I'll say. Anywho, it was fun. Thoroughly enjoyed. Would rate it 4 stars. Solid read. It may or may not reread it again. I probably will. And so that makes it a 4 star. Also, I started The Cuban Heiress, which it's kind of crazy. I'm almost 40% of the way through. Almost halfway. It's a literary fiction, but I don't know where. I tried searching for where I found out about this. Could not find it through my browser history and all that, but I thought it was a thriller, which it definitely has thriller undertones, and I think it could be classified as like a literary fiction but thriller. I guess it's more, I don't know, I feel like it could have been in the thriller section, but it was in the regular fiction section. Again, I don't know where I heard about this. There's someone named XO Joe, and she did a video of her favorite Latinx authors and books, and I thought that's where I heard about this, but again, I couldn't find it. But so this is The Cuban Heiress. It takes place on Morro Castle, which I think something happened to it. It's a ship, a cruise from New York down to Havana, Cuba, and then back. And I think, like, I briefly Googled, I think, the author, and a picture of the cruise ship, like, broken, came up. I didn't look too deep into it, so I actually have absolutely no idea, but I think there's something historically significant about this specific cruise ship. But it's definitely like cat and mouse, hunter hunted. You don't know who is who. So that's like where the thriller vibe comes through. But it's been fun. And currently, well, as I'm filming this, it is September 19th, which means it is his National Hispanic History Month in the United States of America, September 15th to the October 15th. And so I think it's just so fun to read this. I don't think I've ever, like, if you asked me what are some cities in Cuba, I don't think I would have been able to come up with that. Like, yes, I know Havana, but I don't think I would have like pulled it out of my brain. You know what I mean? I'm learning a little bit, not too much so far, about the Cuban culture because they're on a ship. Yeah, there was a scene recently where it was talking about some of the characters' like background and childhood. But I just think it's so fun reading diverse books, you know? I have absolutely no idea where this is gonna go. None. No idea. I don't know if this ship just crashes. I don't know if everyone has a secret. That's another thing. And I don't, yeah, everyone has a secret. It's not like a who's done it because there's not really anything that's been done. It's more like who was hunting who for what reason, or who wants to off who for what reason. Like, one of the first scenes is someone getting a gun, so you're like, okay. But it's been fun. I'm excited to finish it. So 100 pages is going to get me pretty much, I think, 50 pages short of the end. So I will probably finish this. Well, if I successfully complete this challenge, I will finish this book. 6 for 6, baby. But okay, this book has been so good. Last night I was flossing. Well, let me rewind. I read my 100 pages last night, and then I like watched a couple of videos, came upstairs, brushed my teeth, started flossing. Mid-floss, I realized that there was a reveal that just didn't even cross my mind until I was flossing. Basically what happened is there was a memory of something happening and they said this person's name, and then it goes to present day and then one of the characters says the person's name, and I was, oh, obviously in the moment I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh. But then later I was like, oh. Anyways, like I said earlier, every character has a secret, and so a lot of the secrets have been revealed. There's still one character, his name is Harry. I don't know what his end game is. I don't know if he's like kind of like a red herring of sorts, which if he is, that'll be kind of annoying to me. I don't really like red herrings, but it's really not a whodunit. It's really what will what will happen. Oh, anyways, so far they docked in Havana. So I got to see a little bit of Havana and learn a bit about the culture and what has happened in Havana. I guess there's just been a lot of fighting and, like, I don't know if you call it war when it's your own people, but a lot of turmoil, I think they called it the resistance or something. A lot of turmoil going on within the country year after year, and it's just a part of life in Cuba, which is very interesting. And then, yeah, you just get to see a little bit of the city of Havana, but then they're back on the ship. And then they're making their way back to New York. So TBD. Also, the ship has not wrecked yet. So maybe I was completely off base. I don't know. The picture that I saw made it look like the ship was like about to come on land. So I guess I just assumed it was gonna wreck. I don't know. But I have 50 pages left for today. No, I mean 100 pages, but 50 pages left in the book, and then I'm gonna start another book. I have no idea what's gonna happen. Well, yeah, I just don't know what's gonna happen with Harry. I imagine what's gonna happen with some of the other characters. Also, there was a reveal where character A, I knew character B knew character A. I didn't know character A knew character B. So that was crazy. But yeah. Okay, let's read. Out with the old and with the new. Hi friends, I went 7 for 7. Is that not crazy? I read a total of 819 books. Wait, not books, pages. But anyways, I started with Rain of Cinders and Glass. This was so great, so fun, so entertaining, loved it, would recommend. I think I would rate it 4 stars, and if I was doing like half or quarter stars, maybe 4.25, 4.5. But yeah, it was great. So I think the next book, I think they're standalone, and I think the next book is about the sister whose name is Belle, and I'm assuming it's Beauty and the Beast. But I'm excited to read that one. And I feel like it's a great fall read. I can't remember if there was snow in the book, but I mean, I feel like most fantasy books give like a fall wintry vibe, and so this was fun. And then I read The Cuban Heiress. The Cuban Heiress, I would say, is a great beach read, summer read. It's, I think, classified as literary fiction, but it definitely has a vibe of a thrill, but it's like a very, very, very light thrill, but definitely there. And so I feel like this would be a great book, yeah, if you're on vacation, if you're on the beach, like summer vibes for sure. It was fun, and I thought it would be like a slow read, but it wasn't. It was great. Oh, I would rate it. Okay, so even though I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it, I think I would rate it 3 stars, and if I was doing half and quarter stars, it'd be like 3.5. But I still would recommend it if you're going on a trip. Like, this is a fun read. And then lastly, I was debating what book to read, and 4 out of the 5 books were all fake dating. But I ended up going with Tried and True, The Bodyguard. I read this about a year ago, almost exactly, rated it 5 stars, and so I'm 60 pages in now. I'm curious to see if this will still be 5 stars a year later, like a year into my reading fiction era, but so far it's been good. I just got to the part where she flips him over on his back, because he doesn't believe that she would be a good bodyguard because she's a girl and she's smaller than him, but then she absolutely lays him out. It's a great scene. It's kind of crazy because I have a 5-star maybe and a 4-star and a 3-star book in this video. But you made it to the end. That means you should give it a like. Thanks for watching. Bye.
And though you're not here